All right, guys. The classic one magenta intro. Uh, mm, Today I would like to bring you kind of a sad topic. Just kind of a little story, I guess, that like happened recently. That is hopefully gonna serve as a little bit of a teachable moment, maybe teachable moment. Sorry. Um, we're in our project phase right now. Uh, I mentioned this a couple times probably already, but like, excuse me, there's like dust everywhere. Uh, I'm a game design student, and second half of every semester we do group projects where we just make a game. And lately, so this semester and last semester, we've had a system where who yeah, we're internally among us students, among us, huh? Um, like each individual student, if they want to, they can just pitch an idea, and whoever's interested can like approach them, and then they form a group, right? That's how we try to like form our groups now, instead of like just randomly DMing people at the start of the semester because we're afraid we're not gonna get a group later and shit, right? It was a very chaotic system before. Um, and now it's a lot more organized and a lot more fair, and like just like I think it just ensures a better group dynamic from the start as well when you're like I think I've mentioned this before, but like people you sort of get along with like on a surface level and like who you like, there's no guarantee that you're actually jiving as colleagues, right? Uh when you're working on the project. Um and there's no guarantee that you're actually into each other's ideas. I've definitely talked about that before, that the whole the brainstorming process in a group is very suboptimal in my opinion. It's I mean, there's ways to make it work, but I think it's very helpful to like start with as few people as possible, and then those people should be kind of on the same page. Um, I think uh yeah, like because it's if you have a group of 5 people and then everyone can give their input, it's very easy to get off track, right? It's very easy to sort of stay on one idea for a long time and then not even uh like provide the opportunity for other ideas to come to fruition, right? That's how I felt on my second project, like a lot, where, and even the first one to some extent, where everything was moving so fast because of the whole group dynamic that um, there was not an opportunity to like rethink stuff, and that was very frustrating. Whereas my third project that I already talked about, Banana, um, I originally pitched the idea, and then I built my team, um, you know, from people who were genuinely interested in the idea, right? And they didn't really have objections with the concept itself, right? The concept was already fleshed out at that point. I had thought about it a lot. Um, and then we just had to figure out the details in the group, and that was very helpful, right? And even like with my current group, I'm gonna talk about that. With my current group, uh, we were still sort of in the idea finding phase at some point, at one point, I should say, yeah. And that still went really well because we didn't sort of force ourselves to commit anything immediately. We like specifically ended the meeting saying, okay, let's like think about all the shit that was said and then come to like a more defined conclusion like in 2 days or something. So that already went a lot better. But that's not actually the topic I want to talk about today. Um, so because the thing is, and what I do want to talk about is that originally this semester I also pitched an idea, and it was an arcade game, and it was very much based on fish. I said on Twitter, I'll make my fish game someday. All of that, and me saying it was, and not that it is, right? Uh, all that is to say that yeah, it didn't come to fruition, right? I didn't. I got Um, two people who were interested, and both of them were artists, right? And I could not find a programmer. And like, I mean, there's a lot I could say about like just our university and how the programming classes are pretty poor and they just can't really maintain interest for programmers. Um, I think at least one of our programmers has left our course, and generally there's just a lack of programmers, and there like the programming knowledge is kind of stagnating a lot. But that's a whole other topic. Well, it's kind of related to what I'm saying, but like we were like three people, and like there would have been options, right? I could have forced it. I could have like maybe said, okay, I'm gonna do it, or I'm gonna try to fucking learn it or something in the short time that we have. But I just realized, yeah, that's actually a fucking bad idea, and I'm like, it's not gonna be the game that I want it to be in the end. Um, which is sad because I'm very excited about the idea. Like, and it's something I would like to make eventually, and that's kind of, that's that's gonna be the point of this thing, right? Eventually. Yeah. So I thought that, but I also thought, yeah, obviously for my group members, I don't want to drag them through like an experience that probably is not going to be very gratifying. And um, yeah, I said like, yeah, I don't want to force it, so I think we should just split up and look for different groups. Um, and like, I guess I'm proud of myself for like being mature enough to do that step, right? Uh, as much as I was attached to the idea, I didn't want to force it, and I didn't want to um yeah, I didn't just fucking like rush into it head first and like drag everyone down with me. Uh I just went with the most realistic and most satisfying solution that yeah, we have these groups available right now, and like we should discuss among us. Uh like which groups do we prefer? This is the thing that like I try like with the two people who are interested, I try to be like transparent and say, okay, like let's not jump ship immediately. Let's talk about it. Let's see what our options are and stuff. Um, so I'm gonna pour water. It's gonna sound very satisfying. Hang on. Oh baby, if that's not ASMR, then I don't even know. Yeah. So I'm proud of myself for that. Honestly, I feel like a lot of other game design peeps would have forced it. They would have tried to find a way to like to force this constellation and their idea and whatever. And I guess it just I don't want to say too much, but like I thought, man, there was like some really poorly thought out pitches and really poorly thought out ideas uh among our students. I'm sorry for that. I keep saying among us. Um, there were some like pretty bad ideas, honestly, and like they managed to get like five people right, like for that whole group. So like our professors say, yeah, have 4 to 5 people, please. That's sort of the number that you should aim for. And I'm not gonna talk about specifics. I'm not gonna discuss it more than that. But it's like it's really surprising. Like I guess it's kind of related to the point of this podcast, I guess. Which is that you know I wanted to make an arcade game, and like with a dark, trippy aesthetic, and like it had this sort of social, kind of allegorical thing going on as well. Um, and I wanted a mechanic that I think is really unique, right? That was sort of my goal with it. And it's like it's just not the kind of shit that most people are into, right? It's just not the even it would surprise you how many people get into game development not to make gamey games. Uh like yeah. Um it's way easier to excite other people for your idea if it's like very like thematic, very high concept, very I almost want to say story driven, if that's sort of the hook of it, and like if the art is cute and stuff, right? Um, and like I mean I don't want to shit on that. I don't want to shit on that idea, but like I'm just saying like if you're trying to pitch something with like very low level nitty gritty kind of stuff, you're not gonna be super successful, I think. And like I mean that's like saying I think my presentation was pretty solid, pretty watertight. Uh, no pun intended. Huh? It's like fish, watertight. Get it? Um, and like I omitted a lot of details to make like I had thought about how the game is actually going to work, right? Like there was a lot of considerations that I needed to do to figure out like the progression of the game and like how to balance certain elements, and I omitted all of that from the presentation, right? Because I thought, yeah, it's not interesting, right? It's not interesting to the average viewer, and it's not what you should base the pitch around. What I tried to do was I showed sort of my main hook, like I showed the premise of the game, the basic premise, and then the main mechanical hook, right? And then for that one mechanic, uh, I had a lot of different examples for how it can be used, right? And like that's unless again, kind of like unless you're super into those kinds of games and like if unless you're super laser focused on mechanical interactions and like how we play games and shit like that, that's not really gonna excite you, I think. As hard as I tried, right? It's much easier to catch people with a setting, with a character, with shit like that. And yeah, that's a little bit sad, and it made me think a lot about like that's the thing. Sort of the evening where I realized that fuck, this isn't coming together. Like I'm not gonna have a complete group. I like I just immediately went to Google and tried to ask how hard is it to do this kind of thing in Unity? How hard is it to like have this kind of character controller and this kind of progression, whatever, right? Because I was seriously considering like maybe I have to do it myself. Um, and that's sort of when it hit me that fuck, man. I think I'm just really in that exact boat. I'm really in that exact spot as a designer where the exact kind of shit that I want to make is very hard to do um like very hard to get another person basically to do for you. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's very hard to even that's the thing. Even if I found a programmer, right? I would still like number one, they would have to be interested in the idea in the first place, right? And then number two is I would have to be able to explain it to them very clearly and very accurately, right? And I mean, I've talked about ways sort of to handle that, right? Where the programmer just they they design the prefabs and like the whole structure of the project in such a way where the designer can edit it very easily. That's very crucial, but it's just way fucking easier to have an idea and then to be able to put it on the screen yourself, right? Um, and that's kind of what hit me, and that's what I want. That's the topic of this thing, this podcast, this video. Um, uh, that I realized I'm kind of fucked. I specifically am fucked if I can't learn how to program. And that's really something I just need to fucking get off my ass and like so the team I'm working with right now, I'm really excited about that idea. I think it's really cool. And like yeah, as I went into that group, I didn't do it with the intent to like change their whole plan. I just wanted to pull my weight as much as I could, right? I just wanted to bring myself in and like uh actually start from their idea, and not force my own fucking thoughts. And I think so far it's going really well. And I discussed with one of my programmer friends there in that group, and just like because he's like super cracked, he's a super fucking cracked programmer, and I was just thinking, like, dude, what do I do? Like, where do I start? And even he was saying, yeah, it's kind of difficult. Like, I think with most programmers, they will tell you they don't know how they really got into it, right? Um, and mm, in my game builder garage video, I talked about sort of like the importance of visual programming and all that. Um, but like we discussed that a little bit, and I still stand by everything I said in the video, right? But um, yeah, he was kind of explaining to me that for a programmer, software like Unity is actually way better. Because the programming language is very easy, and the software is not so stuck in like specific templates. Whereas in Unreal, they give you very solid templates and very solid blueprints for making like certain kinds of games, right? For adapting certain kinds of pre-existing concepts. Um, Even as a designer, right? Like even just with visual programming. But if you want more freedom within Unreal, you need to learn C++, and that's really fucking hard. So for a programming-oriented person, it's actually way easier to get into Unity and just do whatever the fuck they want. I think maybe, like, as much as I hate it, right, as much as I cannot wrap my head around it right now, I think maybe I just need to start there. Yeah, maybe I just need to start with Unity and sorry, I'm drinking from the bottle again. I forgot my own rules. Oh baby, hell yeah. I got a meeting in 20 minutes, by the way. I need to hurry up a little bit. Yeah. I think I just need to go into Unity and fucking mess around with it and like start small. Not even necessarily with my fish game. Even though the fish game, I think it's really doable. I think it's actually super doable. For like a single person for the most part. I would just mostly, I think I would just need someone to do my art. But like from a programming perspective, and even like, I mean, that's the thing, like the assets are like, I sort of designed it obviously with a small scope in mind, so it should be very easy to like build the foundation and then have someone like look at it and help me with it. I guess on that note, people will always like tell you, oh, just make like a visual novel or make an RPG or something, and because it's simple, right? You can do it very easily. And I think, I mean, that's the reason a lot of people do that. That's the reason like Toby Fox does an RPG, and that's the reason um I don't even know. Like, there's just a lot of indie developers that start with very simple, like programmatically simple shit, right? Where a visual novel is like not systemic at all, right? It's very linear. What if kind of shit in terms of programming. And that makes sense, but it's just not what I want to do, right? I'm not gonna be satisfied. And I've talked about this before with some friends, right? If I make a visual novel, I'm not gonna be satisfied. Like I guess of course there's more. I keep saying like, sorry. Of course there's more you can explore in the visual novel genre, right? For example, but it's just not what excites me about games fundamentally. I like controlling a character. I like being in a world. I like interacting with things. Uh, that's the main reason I wanted to make games, right? That's the main thing I like about the medium. And just the fact, I think, yeah, I mean, once there was this one game that like blew up the other day on Twitter from this Japanese indie developer, where you play this little robot and they jump over these like sunken skyscrapers and then they dive underwater and shit, and like it was low poly 3D. It looked really cool. Unfortunately, I should link it. if I can, but I don't have a title for it because all of it was like in hiragana. And like for me, what excited me about it is like, oh shit, I like it. They really conveyed the sense of being this robot and the weight of it really well, right? And I think if you say that in a pitch, you're not gonna get a lot of attention, right? But if you show it in a video, even people who are not super excited about mechanics, they will see it and be like, "Ooh," because it sells the experience, right? Like just sort of intuitively seeing the weight of the character and like the way the world feels. Um, that does a lot of heavy lifting, and I guess the moral of the story is that it's not necessarily that you can't sell that kind of game, even if I still think it's kind of hard, right? Like, um, I was thinking a lot about Undertale. Undertale is the perfect kind of indie game because yeah, it just makes me think unless you have a story and like a unique gimmick that hits the nerve, hits the zeitgeist so hard. Oops, almost spilled my water. You're not gonna have that kind of success, right? You're just not gonna have that kind of success. Well, I don't even know, right? I mean, you have shit like Rocket League, right? Rocket League is not a AAA game. Um, and that blew up. Among Us is like pretty gamey and blew up. Uh Shovel Knight is not a phenomenon like Undertale is, but still did extremely well. Um I guess you need something. You need a certain something, right? Um, it's a little bit sad because like I know that the whole vibe and style of the game that I came out with, I just don't see it being a huge hit, right? And that's a little bit sad. That's I do think overall that kind of experience is not really taken seriously, I guess. I mean, also talked about this endlessly, right? That like it sucks that just a gamey, goofy ass game, unless it's made by Nintendo, can't be Game of the Year. Um, I think it goes even further that today games just you can have arcadey mechanics and shit, but they need to be within a framework that people actually pay attention to. Returnal is the perfect example of this, right? Returnal is a great game. I like Returnal a lot so far. Haven't finished it yet. Haven't played it a lot recently because of I mean, the fact that it doesn't have suspend, like a save suspend thing, quick save or something, very stupid, very dumb. There's absolutely no fucking reason not to have that. Um, it would not change the design of the game at all. I don't know, man, it's silly. But that game, I mean, we know the whole story behind it, where Housemarque were like, "Oh, arcade is dead, and we need to do other shit," and then they basically put their sensibilities into this AAA kind of game. And it's a great game, but it's kind of sad that they had to do that, and it inherently already still shuts out smaller developers, right? That don't have the resources, but also not even the interest in doing something like that. I don't want to make like my fish game. I don't want my fish to be a fucking sad dad with fucking cutscenes, right? That's not what I want. That's not what I want to do. But it's almost like you can't justify making it unless it is that, and that's kind of sad. And I guess it emphasizes even more the idea that yeah, I need to do everything myself. I can't I can't rely on like convincing other people of the idea. I can't rely on a big budget. I think when you want to make a certain kind of experience, you just have to do it yourself, and that's very sad. And it just says a lot about the state of our industry. I don't think, yeah, I don't think things are rosy right now. I don't think everything is just like every kind of game is popping off. Even with indie games, you have to have a certain something to it, right? You have to have a certain gimmick um, that appealed to that mindset, I guess. That's again, I was talking about like those other groups that had really bad pitches that didn't really explain the loop of their games well at all, but they still got a lot of support, right? They still got a lot of people who are interested, right, on working on those games. Why is that, right? Because they had that certain something that like appeals to a broad audience. And yeah, I guess that's the realization that I wanted to share with you guys. And my conclusion is that yeah, if you wanna make your own shit, you have to do it yourself. And that's again, it's very sad. And it's not. I'm not even blaming like other people, right? Like I don't want to say, oh, my idea is so good, like you fucking idiots. Why aren't you supporting me? It's just it's a way broader issue. Um, yeah, I guess I'm gonna title this my idea for a title for this podcast was like I realized I'm fucked if I don't learn how to program or something. I think that would be funny. Yeah, I guess that's what the topic is, right? Uh yeah. Sorry for this rambly fucking podcast. Um I'm recording this in the middle of the day and somehow I'm like less I feel like less together than I usually do when I record these. Um, I guess I'm like agitated because like yeah, I don't want there to be noise. I don't want people to come in. Mm. See, I'm already hearing noise upstairs. That's like my cue to end this shit. All right, see you guys.